So there are three very important words that have come to my mind here recently that I think needs to be discussed, because I'm sure most of you guys, if not any of you guys, have ever thought of it. Ready, run, and gun? It's time for blast off. Let's go. Hey guys, Todd here with you. Welcome back to Bassin 101. Truck talk again. Woohoo! Truck talk. What's today's truck talk topic? Talk topic. That's too much to say. But what is today's topic? Three very important words. Now, if you're a Bill Dance junkie like me, the three words you're probably thinking of is depth, location, and presentation. And that is very important. Absolutely. But those ain't three words I'm talking about. You know, I've noticed that here recently, fishing that ultra clear lake that I've been on, and my lure choices are very simplistic. They're also very limited. I mean, 10 feet you can see the bottom. And it started to really make me realize that there are definitely three key points that you need to look into. At the river, if I'm 4 or 5 foot of visibility, I'm doing pretty freaking good. And that's kind of what I'm used to. I consider that clear water. Not like this. But your lure choices are definitely very limited when you have crystal clear water. And you have to rely on techniques that maybe you're not that used to, or techniques that you just realize this ain't working for me. I mean, you can say this is a simplify your fishing kind of thing, maybe. I mean, it's possible. But the three key words that I'm thinking of when it comes to lure selection in any situation you're in, whether it's muddy water, clear water, stained water, whatever, is sound, action, and profile. Now, of course, putting inside of that whole entire equation, you basically have triggering qualities and drawing qualities. But it's, again, sound, action, and profile. I've been noticing, especially with the river, but now that I've been fishing this lake, I've actually been enjoying this lake. I've noticed that there are a lot of rigs I'm not carrying anymore, which is strange. As far as my soft plastic selection, it's down to almost nothing. Still got the slider. Slider ain't going nowhere. But yeah, it's really drawing down, and I've noticed that I'm carrying more in crankbaits than probably anything else. Because crankbaits to me is, again, that's the sound, action, and profile. Sound, I'm not talking about what kind of rattles you got. Excuse me, in a bait, because even a silent bait rattles. I've mentioned to you guys before, split rings and hooks rattle. If you don't believe me, put a little bit of water in your bathtub, take you a shallow water, like a Rapala of mint or something like that, pull that thing through the water and listen to it. It rattles. But it's more of a natural type sound. And that's probably why silent baits work so well. Of course, I'm a balsa crankbait nut anyway. I love balsa crankbaits, especially the handmade ones. Love them. But sound is something in that clear water reservoir that I'm really not too concerned with. I'm not saying I don't want it. I'm just saying I'm not too concerned with it. So all of my crankbaits are silent. As far as action, you can choose baits that have slow actions. You can choose baits that have fast actions, or you can choose baits that will allow you to vary the kind of action you want. And I'm talking from soft plastics to different kind of spinner bait designs to crankbaits, jerk baits. There's all different kinds. And as far as profile, do you need to keep it big so they can see it, or do you need to keep it kind of small for finesse purposes? And some baits you think are huge. By the time you get them in the water, you start looking down the water and you realize they don't look that big. So that's something else to consider. Perfect example. Everybody thinks that a Bagley B3 is a huge bait. And to some people it is. But it's interesting that I've used a shallow Bagley B3 on the river and caught bass on the river. But if you think a B3 is big, have you ever seen an original B4? The Bagley B4 was out before the bigger baits. But think about that for a minute. That's a big bait. Is that the kind of profile you need for the situation you're in? So sound, action, and profile. When you're picking out stuff to put in your box, whether I know a lot of you guys have different boxes for different lakes, and that's cool. Some guys like me just prefer to have one box that can go anywhere you need to go. And that's pretty much what I'm putting together, is one box. And realizing that certain lures that haven't made the cut doesn't mean I don't have any confidence in them. It just means that it's just not a high confidence bait for me. So they're not making the cut. Doesn't mean I'm getting rid of them. They just didn't make the cut. So they'll go on the shelf. Because they'll probably be extinct in a year or two. Who knows? But have you guys thought about that? I mean, have you gone in depth in your lure choices to figure out your sound, your profile, and the action that you have? Is it an erratic action? Is it more of a natural action? I mean, I've seen it go both ways, especially in crystal clear water. I've seen it go both ways. You get something that's just erratic as all get out, and they'll slam it, and you have to have something that barely even moves, and they'll slam it. In clear water, that's unusual for something that barely moves. But I've seen it. Especially with the slider worm. My best retrieve in the slider worm is actually suspended, not on the bottom, pointing my rod tip right at that bait and barely turning my handle. That's slow slider fishing right there. But they hit it. So what do you guys think? Have you ever considered sound, action, and profile? Have you ever considered that? I just thought I'd run that by you, see if you've ever thought about it, because I know a lot of you guys are putting together a simplified box, or just a box to do everything with, or a bag or something like that that you want to do everything with. And maybe you haven't thought about sound, action, and profile. You're just thinking of this bait I've caught them before, this bait I've caught them on before, this one I haven't, this, that, and the other. That's also a good way of doing it. But think about sound, action, and profile. You don't want all the baits in your selection to be doing pretty much the same thing. You don't want that. You want a variance of it. So I just thought I'd run that by you guys, see what you think of it. I guess I'm done with my truck talk today. I'm done with my magnificent wisdom. Anyway. Anyway, until next time, guys, remember, new techniques are trendy, but bass never change. May the Father bless you and keep you in Yeshua's name, and as always, fish on.